even closer.
Alan Bernard from New Orleans.
New Orleans, all right, good.
Wendy Radcliffe from Charleston, West
Nice
Virginia.
to meet you, Wendy.
We're from all over.
Yeah, from Pennsylvania.
Nice to meet you. Pennsylvania, we're from all over.
Yep.
Ward Morehouse from New York.
Ward, good to meet you. Good to meet you.
C.T. Rogers from Houston.
Nice to meet you, CT.
Hi, Sanford Lewis from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, wow, we're widely covered. Hi.
Ramona Stevens, Louisiana.
Louisiana. Oh, hey, Diane. I see somebody I know. Oh, you got some fun. Hi, yeah, I didn't see you. Melanie, good to see you. Yeah.
Frank McVeigh from Kingman, Arizona.
Nice to meet you, Frank.
Diana Anderson from Michigan.
Michigan.
Oh.
Wow. Welcome to the warm weather. Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
wanted
met this young lady. Nice to meet you. Get there. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
we would like to talk to the plant manager.
Can't. As you and I talked, I think it was this past week.
That's
you and I
right.
talked.
That's right.
And as I said, I was willing to line up the right people. We don't have them for you today, but we can, whatever dates we said, I think it's the 19th and 20th.
Well, see, it's a real rare opportunity for me
Yeah.
to have this type of support and this type of expertise, and they are part of our group, and we would like to, in the spirit of responsible care, to communicate and to be able to use the opportunities that we have, and it would be, I would be sorely missed by all of this group on the 20th.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm about the best you're going to get right now, but as I mentioned earlier, I'll get the right people together for you the 19th or 20th, but they just weren't around today.
Mr. O'Sullivan, do you know whether the company intends to get the documents that were asked for to the Calhoun County?
As I told Diane had written a letter to our plant manager and had indicated that she'd like to talk about all these things. I told her I'll line up the right people to go over these things with her on I believe it was the 19th or 20th, but I didn't have the right ones here today.
Well,
I met this gentleman earlier, right here.
Yeah, that's good.
But in the letter, they actually asked for some documents, and in the reply, there was no commitment or even indication that Union Carbide was prepared to deliver those documents.
We're more than happy to sit with Diane, as we always are. And, Diane and I talk every now and then, and she is always welcome, and we're willing to go over whatever topic she'd like to go over.
Well, a year
But
ago...
I'm not the expert,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, like a year ago, I wanted to be a part of the group when you talked about the explosion, and I wasn't welcome then.
We invited all the media, the news media, out the day following the explosion, as I recall, to take pictures, talk, whatever. And I think I've been pretty good about keeping you informed when we have things going on, when you holler.
But Mr. O'Sullivan, the bottom line is that in terms of the consultants and people from around the country who are here to help Diane, you're not prepared to talk with us about today. Is that true?
No, I will be later on this week.
Is there a policy about it? Is there a
No.
policy from Union Carbide about not talking to people from outside the community?
As I told Diane, we prefer to talk to the local people and keep it local. I think if you're national and you're interested in talking about responsible care, I think CMA is probably the right source for that on a national level.
So,
I think we do that all the time because I'm a member of the National Citizens Advisory Panel.
Yes, I heard. Diane had
I-
said some of y'all would be down.
I meet with them. I met with them, in fact, this very weekend, and I
Good.
cut the trip short to come down here, come to the plant.
Yeah.
I have also met with Bob Kennedy and Bud Smith up in Danbury very often, and I was hoping that I'd be able to meet with people here at the local scene
All
by
right,
coming
I'd
here
say,
today.
that's the right place to be with CMA folks nationally, or the corporate headquarters in Danbury. I'm local. Diane's local. We talk.
so
anytime.
when you have a meeting with Diane, will you be bringing engineers and people like that?
We'll have the right people to talk to her.
Some experts and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yes.
What about
But-
my
but what about her
experts?
experts?
Yeah.
Like I say, I'm always willing to talk to local, national. I'm not
Would you please answer the question? Can she bring experts to talk with your experts?
Her own experts.
I'm just saying I'm willing to talk to Diane with our experts anytime. I know this is a one-step game we're
This is a
playing,
two-way
okay?
street.
that was a nice
If
answer.
you have the right to have your
Yeah.
experts, she has the right to have her experts.
Sure,
We go
but-
through the technical documents in Louisiana. I work with a statewide environmental group. I go through this all the time, meet with plant managers and the companies, and I live in Louisiana, and we've got 4 Union Carbide facilities in Louisiana. The main thing is to have Diane to have the ability to have her technical people go through the documents and to discuss things with your technical people. It's not fair for y'all to gang up on her. Your
we
technical
don't gang
people,
up on
but that's
Diane.
what you're doing ultimately if you're not allowing her to bring her own technical experts.
Yeah, Diane and we have always talked about matters that she's concerned about. We're
Diane?
always willing to do that.
Is it true that you asked for many of these documents quite a while ago and still haven't gotten them?
That's true. The ones on the groundwater contamination, matter of fact, it was part of our negotiations. And we sit in on the
and-
first meeting, and when I gave them the list, they said, I believe the assistant plant manager was there, and he said he had never saw this and he didn't know what it was all about. And he was prepared to go ahead with what they were planning to do. And matter of fact, we had to cut the meeting short because they weren't prepared with the information.
Yeah, we did try to set up a meeting to follow,
Yeah.
and it didn't gel. We
Yeah.
had set a date and that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
it didn't come together
Yeah.
as we had planned.
Yeah.
But you and I both worked on that.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Sullivan, you know, many of us around the country have been aware, because of OSHA's
Yeah.
investigation of the accident, that there are safety audits that were done by the facility here as far as 20 years ago, which made recommendations for safety of the plant, and then the plant did not follow those recommendations, so that when you did have your explosion, things could have been a lot worse than they were, except for sheer luck in terms of what exploded into what. We would very much like to know whether you consider those safety audits something that are in the public domain because OSHA has looked at them, and do you have copies that you could give us today?
If Diane would like to talk about that later, when I have the right people there, we'll sure do that.
Are you saying there's nobody in the plant right now who knows about those safety audits?
The people that I could line up that I was trying to get together for you today
Is the
were
plant
not
manager on?
available. Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And then who is minding the safety of the plant then if those people are not present who could talk about that?
I don't think I want to play that wordsmith game with you today, but
I believe he's called an emergency director. They're supposed to have a 24-hour person on call, and he's emergency director, and there are 5 or 6 of the emergency directors. And one of those should be here today.
May we meet with him?
now, as I expressed earlier to Diane, I'll repeat again that we're willing to have Diane out at any time and have the right people here for her to talk to.
At that meeting on the 18th or 19th, is it possible that will you give her those documents on plant safety and the audits of the facility?
I'll have the people here that can speak to her on that subject. Right.
Have you ever had any precedent before of giving your safety audits to people in the community to show them what your safety auditors are identifying as your key safety problems and what you have done to fix some of those problems?
I'm not the expert on that. I'm out here to tell you that we'll talk locally anytime.
Maybe we need to find out whether is there an emergency PR director on the site that we can talk to.
You're talking to Mr. Public Relations
Okay.
right now.
You know, I think within the clearest within the clear scope of fairness, but there's something in my meeting. I think it's truly unfair to restrict Diane and limit her who she can have attend that meeting. As you said, you will bring the people that you feel as though is the proper people for her to speak with, the expertise in your area, and I think it's truly unfair for you to limit her in her ability to bring someone on her behalf.
We try always to explain things and do things in a form that are understandable, the right one we gave the right folks there.
Do you feel that the company is threatened by people from outside experts from around the country that have some experience in this industry?
People that are knowledgeable, that are factual, I do not have problems.
No, I mean, is the company itself threatened by possibility of scrutiny by experts in chemical manufacturing?
I would hope not. No, I wouldn't think so.
See, one of the big problems here is that the OSHA investigation of the facility showed that even though there are corporation-wide policies in favor of safety, many of the issues are being handled in an unsafe manner at this plant. And therefore, it doesn't help us to go to Danbury to meet with experts in Danbury, because the kinds of questions that we have really need to be placed at this plant. We're really concerned about the tendency of this plant, as shown by the OSHA investigation, to emphasize short-term profitability concerns over the safety of the workers.
I hear you. Again, Diana talked and I this past week. We said we'd be glad to go over her concerns at the appropriate time when we had the people here to discuss them. And,
do you know whether, just in one specific case, do you know whether, as you're rebuilding the control room, are you rebuilding it in a way that it meets the blast-resistant criteria that OSHA held up and said it didn't meet before?
If Diane brings that up, and when we have the right people here, I'm sure they'll answer that for her.
I'm not quite sure I understand why you won't talk to us. You tell us.
I'm not the expert, okay?
Well, but you are the person. You could tell us why. Why can't we come to this meeting? Would you please tell us why?
Because, as always, we're willing to discuss issues with Diane locally. I think that if you have national
Always
folks
willing?
present,
Now, can you honestly
yes,
say
I
always?
think honestly willing, yes.
Always willing.
Yes.
We're
You
not-
know that.
No,
We're
yeah,
not-
I
He
have
still
been
hasn't
shut
answered
off
why we
from
can't
quite
be
a
there.
few meetings.
We're
here.
not here to talk about Carbide as a corporation. We're here to talk about this plant. We may be from other parts of the country, but we are concerned at this moment with this plant. That is our purpose here, to lend technical support and be as consultants to Diane.
Okay, fine.
Now,
But
are you
as
going to
Diane,
allow her
mentioned-
to bring her consultants to this meeting?
As we discussed, and I'll reiterate, Diane and I talked, we tried to set a meeting date for later this week,
No,
and I have the
but
right
what we did was
people here.
I brought the letter to you and I said
Yes.
this was the only day that we're going to be here,
Uh-huh.
and you know, y'all knew this was the only day. These people are from all over
You know,
the United States.
we're used to meeting with Carbide people in different parts of the country, and they fly in experts from Danbury to meet with us. I mean, when they take us seriously, they get there. Now, it's a little strange to come to the plant that is the most notorious in terms of a recent fatal accident, and nobody from Carbide is to be seen except somebody who says, no meeting today, folks.
Yeah. Well, as Diane and I discussed, I called you back, said my folks weren't available on 16th, they'd be available later. We discussed alternate dates to go over these items. Couldn't make it then. You said you get back. This is the first time I've seen you since that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you also said that you'd only meet with her, not with the experts. That was part of the message, as I understand it.
I told you, Diane, that I was always willing to line up the people to meet with you, and you're always welcome here. Yeah. Remember?
She's welcome,
But are
but
you
her
comfortable-
consultants aren't, is what you're
You haven't
saying,
explained
right?
to us why her
This
consultants
is
can't
not
come.
a legal proceeding where we
We're
trying to have good neighbor discussions here.
possible about it.
You still haven't explained to us why her consultants can't come. You've told us we can't come. You've told us you'll meet with Diane, but you have not explained why she cannot have her consultants there to explain the data you're going to give to her. Why can't she do that?
What I explained to Diane is that we'd be willing to meet with her later this week, and that we'd have the right people there to explain any answers that she needed on any topic on your letter.
Could she bring in other people if they're very young, like under 12?
That's a good one. That's a
Rose
good one.
Owen, it's Red Bowen or Mary Jane Marquette. They're not available.
No, ma'am.
They're
They are
both
not.
unavailable today.
Unavailable. Not here.
If we walked in that
that's
office,
terrible,
would we
isn't it?
find the plant manager there?
Not to my knowledge, would you?
Well, then maybe we should check to see what other knowledge there is available.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think that by what you've said today and not allowing us who are here to meet with the people, and even saying essentially that Diane could not bring anyone with her when she comes to meet, I think this message is going to get back to headquarters, and it's going to get to all the shareholders. Because I plan to be at the shareholders meeting, as I have been every year for about the past 5 years. And that message is going to get to the shareholders that Carbide is not willing to allow people to come in who might know what the data that you're giving them is and be able to interpret. This message is going to go out loud and clear to all the shareholders that the corporation is not doing what it says it will do in responsible care. the message is also going to get back to responsible care at the national level, because as I said, I sit on that panel and I will take this experience back.
One
So I
question.
think-
What does Carbide have to hide?
Where does
Really?
what?
What does Carbide have to hide?
Why don't you want our consultants and our experts to end on this meeting so they can discuss things intelligently, not emotionally, but technically?
I said we'd be willing to meet later this week, and that's
Okay.
all I said.
Okay, so we can bring experts then to that meeting?
Diane can bring her consultants to that meeting later this week?
We talked about it. You talked about
Well, you-
bringing people on the 16th, which we couldn't
Well, how about
connect
the
on.
19th or 20th a day? Can she bring her experts to that meeting?
How many people can she bring with her besides herself? How many people can she bring with her?
Don't I have the answer to that?
Well, when will you have the answer?
Who can give us the answer?
I'll have to get back with Diane on that one.
But if you can't give us the answer now, who do you have to consult to get that answer?
That's a good question. I know we're playing wordsmith here on this
no,
thing.
we're not.
Yes,
We're simply
we
trying
are.
to find
Yes,
answers.
we are.
We're not playing wordsmith. We're
Exactly.
trying to
All
get
we're
some
asking
answers.
is for fair treatment. If the
And
company,
we've always been fair with Diane.
Well, you're not
No,
being fair
you're
now.
We
not.
have.
no, you're not. If you're going to bring in your experts and your technical people, it's not fair to her or to the community if you don't
And-
allow her the same rate.
She had asked some questions in a letter, and we're bringing in the people to answer those.
Could I have your card? Do you have a
I
business
don't
card?
have one on me, no.
Can we get one? I'll give you mine, and I'd like to have one. Will you send one to me?
Sure.
And then now I'd
Okay.
be able to send you a letter and talk to you.
Yeah, actually,
Try to-
Even without, in fact, we'd like
Okay.
to just tell you who's all here. Actually.
Okay, great.
Oh, matter of
Great.
fact, I
Give
should
him the
give
list
this. Yeah.
of who's here and where we
Yeah.
are.
All right.
Yeah, right.
Great.